1. My hotel gets a lot of sports teams traveling from various ages and sports. Over the past couple of years, I've begun to notice patterns in the way people associated with certain sports behave. I'm sure there is a relationship with age as well, but for the most part across age groups, some sports players behave better than others. Without further ado, this is Spring League Loop's sports team tier list. S+ tier. Rugby, quite well behaved. I assume because they beat the shit out of people all the time, or they're just too damn tired to put up a fuss. I imagine it's quite cathartic. The only time one gave me any trouble, his teammate gave him the stink eye, as he stormed off, and told me he'd get his due come practice time with a wink. S tier. Swimming. Typically pretty laid-back dudes and dudettes. Surprisingly, they rarely take over the pool. They also tend to be the funniest, even the young ones. Track and field. Like the swimmers but on land. Wolf down plates and plates and plates of breakfast, but never waste food. A tier. Volleyball. They tend to be a bit more rowdy than the higher tiers, but they also tend to be pretty chill chicks. More inclined to running in the halls, but also more inclined to greet and be courteous to staff. Chess. Overall pretty quiet people. May or may not be talking shit about you in another language. Very rarely under the age 15. Up late every night and not the best at planning meals, often miss breakfast and lunch by 10 to 20 minutes, no matter how many times they've stayed. Aside from the missing food service times, consistently, they're great guests. B tier, soccer, very middle of the road. Young kids tend to be on the rowdy side, older kids tend to keep to themselves. Adult players are almost always good looking. Parents tend to be 70 by 30 good at keeping their kids in line. Don't complain too much. C tier, lacrosse. Tend to be pretty high maintenance and passive aggressive. Have either very low speaking volume or crazy loud. Adult players and parents tend to tip generously, and still tip even if they're miffed about something. Nicer to restaurant staff than front desk, tends to ignore housekeeping but do leave tips. Baseball, very mixed bag. The younger the players, the worse the parents. T-ball parents are nightmares. College, and most high school parents and players are okay people. Issues with kids throwing stuff in hallways, making messes in lounge areas. Parents get wasted at the happy hour and bar. But the rare teams and players that are good people. They're the kind to bring food to the front desk agents, tip housekeeping very generously, and are generally some of the most pleasant guests. Basketball. Much like baseball players, but with less frequency of unicorn players, parents, and coaches. D tier, cheerleading. The girls tend to be pretty two-faced. If they are called out for running in the halls or hollering at each other from the 8th floor down to the atrium floor, they apologize, and as soon as your back is turning, they are at it again. Sometimes they call you bitch under their breath. All ages, both players and parents and coaches. Glitter gets everywhere in the lobby, rooms, hallways, and once I found some after cleaning my ears that night. The doors are frequently decorated with taped up posters, and once even washable paint. It left a horrible stain and we had to repaint the doors. We've rarely had any team leave with less than one complaint against them. Usually it's from opposing teams. Spoiler alert, both y'all's teams are being fucky. Football. Much like cheerleaders, instead of glitter being left behind, it's junk food wrappers and the lingering smell of jockstrap. Tend to smile a bunch when they're listing out all the issues they had during their 3-night stay, but never brought anything up until checkout. The women tend to look dead inside until you call out their son for running in the halls. Multiple men from completely unassociated teams and events have been known to lay out each of their credit cards at check-in in a line, and push the one they want to use with their middle finger towards you. Usually while smirking. F. Uck me, really? Again? Tier. Youth hockey. By vote of the people. Disclaimer. There are always exceptions, and my sample size isn't the largest, nor is time coverage very long. Do you guys have certain group types that you're more excited to see than others? 2. Boy howdy. I turned 25 this year. I'm not where I imagined, but I'm not upset either. I decided to take some dealer's classes and become a certified dealer, and will be leaving my current native-owned casino for a different tribe's casino. I decided I wanted to expand my horizons. Mainly, I wanted to work my way up to either floor supervisor or tribal gaming agency. 1, I don't want to work at front desk forever. I can do it, and will if I have to, but I want to be something different. And 2, $30 an hour doesn't sound bad at all. Oof, I've still got some stories up my sleeve. I avoided the internet for a long time because I've been depressed and busy, but now I'm on Prozac and life is jelly beans and soda. Anyway, here's a tale for now. So being a tribal-owned casino, we obviously have some nice benefits for tribal members, provided they show proper documentation, including room discounts. Our rates are set in stone, which is a blessing and a curse. Awesome because we have confidence that no one is gonna show up in July asking for January's rate. Sucks because we have no wiggle room. If you don't have AAA, we can't show goodwill and just give you a discount anyway for the sake of revenue. Now, as a Native American myself, I welcome any benefits that my blood has to offer. Even if I leave my job, I still have health insurance, and the native-owned businesses practice tribal preference, while still being equal opportunity. Without revealing too much about the tribes since they are still my security blanket, I have never seen a more stingy, self-entitled group of people. And it's just this tribe. I know plenty of people from other tribes, and they honestly can't stand this tribe. Of course, not all of them are bad, and I can't even really blame them. With the amount of money they make on just the casino alone, they run clinics, gas stations, smoke shops, and now a marijuana dispensary. Most of their members don't even need to work. I'd be shitty too. Other tribes benefit from them, but the main members are platinum tier. Tribes are also big on elders. This is a universal thing. Why am I mentioning this? Because you have to roll out the red carpet for elders, even if they spit in your face for looking at them funny. Let's say your rooms are normally $189 plus tax. With tribal discount, it's $115 with no tax. Tribal elder, $45, no tax. Those aren't the rates, but you get my point. Now you can only get that low rate if you are a tribal elder. Only that tribe specifically, and if you are the one signing and paying for the room. So basically, everything is in your name. People have become aware of this discount and ask for it all the time. But like I said, if you're not a tribal elder, or even tribal, you're not getting the discount. Now here's the other part. You can technically get the room for someone else who isn't an elder. But you have to be there to sign for the room, and you have to be the one to pay for it. You can't use someone else's card. Has to be in your name. I know a lot of this sounds pretty straightforward and common sense in hotels, but, well, if you've ever dealt with people using their spouse's card without their spouse... So it's become a thing for elders to get rooms for their friends and family members. The elder themselves may not even stay in the room. Sounds pretty awesome, right? Ha! No. We've started cracking down these last few months. We would initially ban the additional guest, and they would end up going through every elder they know, which can take up to 6 or 7 people. So now we've started banning elders, since they're the ones responsible for the room. Now, why wouldn't we just do that in the first place? All it takes is for someone to complain to council or our one manager, who could honestly give a shit unless it's an elder, which, by the way, this one manager will bend over backwards for elders, even if the elder was caught lying and obviously trying to steal from us. I love my management because they are normally pretty good about enforcing their policies. They don't really flake, which is refreshing. Here's the thing about going to the tribal council. It's their fucking hotel. The tribe has set up the rules in place for a reason. If they want to get unbanned, they're gonna have to explain why they got banned in the first place, and trust me, we take notes. I have not seen one complaint follow through. So what's my story? Petty karma. There was a tribal member who was banned from the casino and hotel. But it had been lifted, so a month after that she got a room. But not under her rate, no. Under an elder who has never given us any problems. She's there for a week, which is whatever. She comes by on the 3rd day and asks for a receipt, and she gives me her ID. First red flag, she's not the primary, just an additional. I tell her that unfortunately I cannot give her a receipt because she is not the primary. She tells me that she paid for the room. Second red flag, she shouldn't have, and whoever took the payment was supposed to know better. They had been here for a while and know the rules, but they're also known to crack under pressure, and some people are ruthless. I tell her that we shouldn't have taken her payment because that was against policy. Even then, I still can't give her a receipt. She pulled out her card and sure enough, it matches the one on file. At this point I'm furious, but I maintain my temper. I tell her that I can't give her a receipt, and even if I could, it's blank, there's nothing on it. A bluff, but it had only been 3 days, it only had 2 charges on it. She starts to get irate and unreasonable. She wants something that says we took money from her account. Unfortunately, I don't have that. Even if I wanted to give her something and I didn't, I have nothing to show for that. I should note that this person was only about 34, but she looked 50. Drugs are bad in this area. I restate once again that I don't have a receipt to give her. The elder will get it upon checkout, and they can give it to her then. Even though we took her card, we shouldn't have because it was against our policy, and a policy set by the tribe. Guest: why are you treating this way? You need to stop raising your voice at me. I immediately gave her my biggest shit-eating grin. Me: I'm terribly sorry, ma'am. I don't mean to come off that way. I'm merely restating the policies set by the tribe. I never raised my voice. Granted, I might have shown my irritation slightly, but I regained composure because I had a slight inkling that she was going to get her comeuppance. She then asked for my name because she was going to go to the manager in the morning to complain, and then to the tribe to get me fired. Smile, smile. I write my first name on a little pink post-it note with a smiley. Guest: I need your last name too. Me: I am the only sinful Gigi in this casino. They'll figure it out. I never give my last name. I spend the rest of my shift simmering in a stew of anger and glee. Sure enough, 2 days later, our treasured guest gets banned from the hotel and casino permanently. Why? Covering the smoke alarm and drug paraphernalia. Covering the smoke alarm is a federal offense, and leaving your burnt tinfoil for housekeeping to find is just stupid. I kinda feel bad for the elder. He ended up getting banned too, but we have had too many incidents because of people abusing the discount. They're thinking of raising the rates, and I am so glad I'm not gonna be here to deal with that. 3. Hi, my name's Cypherfod, and though born in Michigan, I grew up on a small island in Maine. That is a pretty big tourist destination. Starting from age 10, my family had a motel, then a B&B, then a divorce. I like working hospitality though, probably because things are less corporate here. Some of the horror stories involving corporate-level meddling are just hideous to me. This is another story from the surprisingly Class 82 unit motel I was front desk manager at for years. This is another room call story. I made a point of fielding as many room calls as possible. Not for tips, no one tips at a motel, but because I'd been doing this shit since I was 10, and as a 6'7" man, there's not a lot of situations where I feel unsafe. So this is once again midsummer, peak season, where we're sold out for months straight. At this surprisingly classy motel, we had about 32 rooms that were king, double, double, with the king in the front bedroom and the 2 doubles in the rear bedroom. Not a suite, just 2 bedrooms for families visiting the national park. This particular evening, I'd checked in an especially charming French family, not French-Canadian, French-French. I am trying to phrase this all politely, but they were caricatures of themselves. The dad was balding, pudgy, and looked like he should be awarding prizes at a wine festival. The mom was dressed to the nines and aloof. The kids were actually pretty adorable, both somewhere between 8 to 11 or so, 1 boy and 1 girl. Perfect French nuclear family. I'd made a point to learn enough of pretty much every language under the sun, so to at least greet a family, wish them well, and tell them to ask us for anything they might need. So I felt like they were pretty happy with the check-in. When I called up their room a few minutes later, standard procedure, to make sure everything looked right, I got a nice "C'est bon." A couple hours later, they called down asking if I could bring up a plunger. Now, I don't know what it's like at more corporate places, but we only had 4 plungers on hand, and my boss, while a genius at hospitality, with the same background as me, grew up doing it, and amazing handyman and just general amazing person, he had a hang-up about plungers, probably justified. Plungers vanish if you let the guests have them. And he liked these plungers, damn it. So unless the guest insisted 3 times, we did the plunging, not them. I mean, it's also just better service. So I grab my favorite plunger from among the 4 and hop in a golf cart and start driving up to the room, tie flapping in the breeze. I have a little fun and do a nice rolling dismount from the cart while sticking on the parking brake. Then go and knock on the door. I get a nice entree, or whatever it is. The smell of shit hits me as soon as I keycard the door open. But I'm a trooper. I can handle this. I tell the guy that I'll take care of it for him, if it is okay, and he opens his mouth for a second to say something, but then just shrugs and nods. I head into the bathroom. There is just so much. I cannot conceive of any scenario other than each member of this lovely, photogenic French family took turns shitting their brains out in this toilet in succession. There was more volume than a baby. Again, I have been in hospitality for 22-something years at that point, since I was 10. I have never seen a dump this big in my entire life. I am doing everything I can to stifle my gag reflexes, and trying to decide if the plunger is gonna be enough. Note, the plunger is always enough. Finally, I get myself under control, throw some rags down the toilet, get the plunger in there, and make sure my nice dress shoes aren't too close. Flip my tie over my shoulder, and very slowly get to work. Very slowly. So I'm sitting there trying to massage an entire family's worth of poops down the world's bravest toilet, when the dad comes in and, no pun intended, I shit you not, he looks at me with the most shocked expression on his face, hands raised to his side and says, "I don't know what happened." Like, seriously? So, like a basketball team's worth of people broke in and shit in your toilet? You're unfamiliar with how toilets or shitting in general works. Are you maybe like the guy from Memento, and every time this weird brown stuff leaves your body, it is a mysterious new adventure? Anyhow, the spice must flow. With slow, careful plunging, I get everything working again. Pick up my rags and get the fuck out. Abiento, or however it's spelled. The guy shouts me back for a second. This one tipped me a 20. So in the end, it was a bittersweet adventure. 4. So we had a group of about 50 staying with us. Their company paid for all their rooms and they only had to cover the incidentals. They were all very nice, and one guy who I helped find a better room for gave me free tickets to the event they were in town to work on. As I've mentioned in a previous post, the area surrounding my property had a pretty big homeless population. It doesn't bother me at all because I've seen it pretty much all my life, but some small town guests get kind of freaked out. Or in this case, try to play savior. A guy from the group approaches the desk and says he needs a favor. I'll be me, he'll be Dum-Dum. Me, so how can I help? Dum-Dum. I was walking outside and I came across this homeless man. We had a good conversation, and I felt really bad and wanted to help him, so I brought him back to the hotel so he could shower and sleep in the bed. But it's been 5 hours and he won't leave, and he's doing what I'm sure is crack in the bathroom. I'm about to leave for work and I really need him gone. Can you guys have him removed by the time I get back? Thanks. And walks away without another word. Both of my managers went out to lunch together, and I was the only one at the desk during a semi-busy day. So the first thing I did was call the room. Again, I'll be me. He'll be homeless guy. Me. Hi, sir. Mr. Dum-Dum has informed us that you are no longer an authorized guest for his room. So if you could please vacate the property in 30 minutes, it would be greatly appreciated. Homeless guy.
What? Told me I could spend the night. I ain't leaving. Fuck off!
And with that, he hung up the phone and wouldn't answer any of my other calls. So I told my housekeeping manager at the time what was going on, and sent her up to see if that would help. My housekeeping manager didn't take shit from anybody, not even our GM. She was quick to call managers and guests alike out on their bullshit, and I loved her for it. So I knew if anybody could get the job done, it would be her. She knocked and told him it was housekeeping coming to replenish towels, before threatening him with the police, and he came down and out shortly after that. The room reeked, And sure enough, there was a crack pipe found in the bathroom. The worst part is that later on that night, Dum Dum was telling the story to his group of friends, making it seem like he was so scared for his life, and what would happen if he came back to him still being there. And he didn't even say thank you. My housekeeper manager later on suggested that Dum Dum paid the homeless man for sex, and when the homeless man wouldn't leave, he made up the lie to get us to get him out. It's happened a couple of times before, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. I was so annoyed any time Dum Dum came to the desk for the rest of their stay. 5. This happens often. Someone who reserves a room, usually through barfing.com, likes to send a special treatment request, thinking that this small place where all the rooms are generally the same will give them some magical upgrade, or place some non-existent wine, flowers, etc. in the room for them. Normally we can just ignore those requests, but some things you can't. Especially on arrival, much like the situation I just had. A couple pulls into the parking lot. I see a third person in the back seat of the car. The female in the group comes into the lobby to check in. I will call her Teresa, only for the fact that she reminded me of one loud Jersey housewife. Teresa.
I would like to check in, please.
Me. What's the name on the reservation? Teresa.
Last name is Muffin Top.
Me. Oh, I have you right here. I hand her her paperwork to fill out and sign, and ask for her credit card and ID, as I would any other check-in. Upon handing it over, and my swiping her card and entering her address info, she fills out most of the information, only doesn't sign and attempts to give her registration slip back to me. Me. I'm sorry, Ms. Muffintop. I'm going to need you to sign the bottom line for me. That is the most important part. She puts the pen in her hand and just stares at her reg card. Teresa.
Is the upgraded room that I asked for?
Which, by the way, she didn't. All she did was say in the comment line that it was her anniversary, nothing more. Me. Oh, I'm sorry. All I see is where you put in a notation in barfing.com that it was your anniversary. Teresa.
And you didn't upgrade my room?
Me. I'm sorry, you booked a standard king. We don't just throw upgrades out. Teresa.
Do you have your penthouse available?
Me. No, I'm sorry, I don't. Teresa.
Well, I noticed that when I made the reservation, the penthouse was available then. Why didn't you put me in that room?
Me. Again, we don't just throw out free upgrades, especially to that room, as it's a $300 per night difference. It was here she began to get a bit irate. Teresa.
Well, I requested that room, and that is what I want, and if there's someone else in there, you'll need to kick them out because I booked it first.
Me. Actually, no, you didn't. You never booked it and someone else did. Now, I do have a mini suite available, but that's a difference of $185 per night. If you want that room, I will be happy to upgrade you to that for the price difference. Here is where it got interesting. She looked me dead in the eye. Teresa.
Well, it's my husband's birthday. Can't you do something for us?
Me. I'm sorry, I'm a bit confused. Didn't you say it was your anniversary on your booking? Teresa. She began to trip herself up.
Well, it's both.
Of course. Now, I didn't believe a word she was saying, so... Me. Look, birthday, anniversary, wedding, whatever it is, we don't offer complimentary upgrades for any reason, which, by the way, we sometimes do. Your options are to take the room you have booked, buy an upgrade fee, or I will even let you out of the reservation should you choose to book somewhere else. She returned to her car, got in, she and the others in her car drove off. Not 10 minutes later, I got a call from barfing.com wanting to cancel her reservation. I let them. Fast forward about 1 hour. She returns again. Teresa.
Is that mini suite still available?
Me. Yes, it is. Teresa.
I would like that, please.
Now that her room is cancelled, I have to check her in on a walk-in status. She hands me her credit card and ID. I begin to check her in. Teresa.
That is the same rate I got the room on barfing.com for, right?
Me. As I told you before, there is a $185 per night price difference. Teresa.
What? You said you would upgrade me for free.
Me. I never once said that. And as I told you before the first time you were here... We do not just throw out free upgrades. Now I'm getting pissed off, so I say the following. Me. I can honor your original booking for the king room that you booked, however. I noticed you have a third person and unfortunately we can't put 3 people in a standard king room. So what I will do for you is, I will put you in a room with 2 queen beds, charge you for the upgrade of $20 per night, and by the way, there is an extra person fee of $10 per night as well. Teresa.
I will just book it in barfing.com again.
Me. Well, the extra person and upgrade fees still apply. Book the room online if you want, but all of that still applies. If you think you are going to get a free upgrade at this point, you are sadly mistaken. Now you can take the room or you can stay somewhere else and pay double, your choice.
Teresa. You can go fuck yourself. I can't believe you won't give me the upgrade I asked for originally.
Me. I won't, and now I won't give you anything because you just told me to go fuck myself. Good luck. Now get out. Without question, she left, drove away. As I type this, a reservation via Fopedia came for her. I called them and told them we would not accept her reservation and why. Suddenly it's cancelled. I love these happy endings. Thankfully, after 10 years in the hotel industry, I am moving on. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Confessions of a Hotel Worker, number 11. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. I'm more of Hell Melter than Hellfreezer right now. Get the fans back on in a minute though, cool me down. Then when I'm done working, there may be ice lollies or popsicles to some of you, and ice cream, we shall see. And with that I'm heading off for now, so until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.